Okay, hello, this is Megan Sourwine. We're specifically talking about taxes today. So, a couple things to know before we get fully involved in all of this is first off, I am not a tax professional. So, the first thing that I highly suggest is finding a tax professional, either a CPA or a tax advisor. Yes, there is a difference. No, I don't know what the difference is, but there is a difference. Um, but go on and make sure that you are talking to someone that specifically knows about small businesses or even better, a home based business. Um, Ask around. I'm sure that there are several different of us that have tax professionals. Some of them are taking on new clients, some aren't. But that's the first thing that I always suggest is always find someone, unless you are really good at taxes yourself, I suggest getting someone else to do them. But you want to make sure that you are prepared so that if you are going to someone, that you're not just bringing a big box of crap and being like, here, fix it for me. I don't know what I'm doing. I say this because I've done that, and your tax professional will not appreciate you. So, I've made kind of a list of things to make sure that you are ready for and you know before going in. First off, let's talk about tax deductions. So, tons of stuff are tax deductions with a home based business. Some of the things that I highly suggest is that you keep track either in a file folder or an Excel spreadsheet or both are your receipts. So some of the different things that you can write off on your receipts are things like mileage going to and from parties, to and from the store to get more business supplies, to and from meetings, to and from like contacting a new team member. All of those things can be a tax write-off. Right now for 2017, I think the right number is that for each mile driven for business expenses, 53.5 cents is a tax write-off for those. So it's not 100%, but you do want to make sure that you keep track of those. Now, the easiest way, or let me say, the most inexpensive way to do this is by a mile log. You can print one, you can just buy a notebook, you can, do something like that. And then what you would write on is, when you're leaving, your beginning mileage and your ending mileage, and the date. That's the most important part. I personally never remembered to do that, so I sucked at it. I just sucked at it. So I personally found an app called Mile IQ, which is a paid-for program. But I love it because it goes on my phone and then it tracks every single trip that I make with my phone, and I can swipe one direction for business and one way to swipe for a personal trip. So it automatically categorizes everything so that I don't have to do it because I didn't do it very well. But you can do either way. If you're good at it, put it on your dashboard, and every time you get in the car, just write down that mileage. The next thing is postage. The postage both from corporate to you and you to your customers is a tax write-off. So anytime you go to the post office, keep that receipt. On your COO, you can actually go into each invoice and find the amount that was charged to send it to you. That's a tax write-off. Meals. Meals are normally 50% off or tax deductible, which means that, let's say you had a meeting at IHOP or we were at Village Inn for a while or something like that. If you have the receipt, make sure that you file that with it, and write on there, May team meeting or something on the receipt, just so that you remember what it is. Other things to make sure that you are keeping track of is stuff you're using for your business. Now, this can be everything from pens to business supplies that you buy from corporate. If you buy anything outside of it, like for instance, let's say you're buying, well, pens is a great example because pens are something that you need to have, but they're not just from corporate. So you went to Office Depot, you bought a bunch of pens, keep that receipt. Also, your demo, if you're brand new or if you started this last year, your demo kit or anything that you've purchased for your demo is can be a tax deduction because it is a business expense. Also, anything that is purchased for research and development. This one, once again, you always ask your tax professional, but my tax professional has told me that if you're purchasing it for your personal use, the first time that you purchase that item, it can be considered a tax deduction because you have to understand how it works for your body. So, and so that you can tell your customers, because that is actually part of your job, is research. So if you've purchased Body Dew for yourself, the first time you purchase it, it can be a tax write-off. Any of the new toys that you bought for yourself can be a tax write-off. You do always want to make sure that you stay on the side of conservative whenever you're doing this, just because it is kind of one of those gray areas. So you want to make sure that if you buy, I don't know, 16 toys for yourself, just know that that can be a red flag for you, okay? But yes, technically, by what my CPA has told me, yes, you can. Also, if there was anything damaged or lost, you can write that off on taxes as well. There is an actual section in your taxes for lost or stolen items. Oh, you want to make sure that you keep track of all your invoices and all your outgoing transactions. So if you are a paper person, you need to keep these. If you're a pure sales person, your job is 9,000 times easier. So if you're not using Pure Sale, get on that so the taxes are easier next year. But if you don't, I mean, it's not out of the question. I did this for, like 5 years before Pure Sale even became a thing. You just want to make sure that you have all of this information down here correct so that you can go through and say how much you've actually sold, how much you gave on discounts, because that's not a taxable thing. So you want to make sure you keep all of these, file them in some way that makes sense to your brain. And also, all the expenses from Pure Romance to you are on the COO, so you can print those out if that makes sense to you. You can go in and look at it however you need to so that you get that that portion as well. Other things, travel, if you went to conferences or anything like that, those are tax deductible trips. You can also write off all of the meals that were happening, your bus fare, whatever it is, that can be, of course, written off. If you have a place in your house that is solely used for your Pure Romance business, you have the potential of being able to write off that square footage off of your mortgage as a tax write-off. I don't personally have that because I live in a 2-bedroom house. So, I don't know. Ask your CPA how to do that because I don't know. The other things to know is that your internet bill or your cell phone bill, you can write off a portion of that. Generally what I do, just for easy sake is my husband and I are on the same account. And so I first off split the cost of, like, for instance, my cell phone bill. I take half of that, and then because I assume that I'm using half for personal use and half for business, honestly, I actually think that I use more for business, but I just do it half because conservative is always better. But I do half of that, so a quarter of the total bill is what I put on my taxes as a tax write-off. Same with internet. If you're purchasing anything for furthering your education, like maybe you bought a Sex at Dawn book that is all about the sexual response cycle or something like that, that can be a tax write-off because that's furthering your education. Yeah, okay, so that's the basics. But you want to make sure, once again, talk to a CPA or a tax advisor. I would not suggest going to somewhere like H&R Block or one of those, just because they really take advantage of how much work it is, and they make you pay a lot more. I remember my first year I went to one of those and it was so expensive. So try and find someone outside of that system. Yeah, just look outside. If you're on Facebook, look for other advisors other than someone like this, but you want to make sure that they have some sort of knowing what's going on with in-home businesses, some experience. It'll save you a lot of time and heartache. Also, if you were wondering, you do not get a W-2 from Pure Romance. You will get a 1099, which basically we are independent contractors. So it's a different form. You will get it sometime. I don't know if you've gotten it yet. I haven't gotten mine yet. But you will. And take that with you to corporate. And I think to file for taxes, if you made less than $500, you don't have to do taxes. I think that's the number. I don't know. But once again, talk to a tax professional, especially someone that will give you a free consultation is great if you don't know them personally. Okay, well, that is your information for today. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post below. Yeah, so hopefully that helps you guys. All right, I will talk to you probably next Tuesday. We will be working on Colorado Springs getting a in-person meeting. There's of course meetings up in Denver and the Aurora places up there, but we are working on something down in the south. I just got to get to it. So, all right. Well, I will talk to you all later. Hope that you're having a great day. Go out there, make some business, make some stuff happen. I will talk to you next Tuesday. Bye.